Attack on Titan may just be my favourite show of all time. The characters, the animation, the world, but above all, the plot. So when Season 4 released and we found ourselves at the end of a 4-year war, I was instantly hooked. I want to first touch up on the new opening because it's been very controversial. It's incredibly different from the others, as it's pretty much all explosions, and the only action is whitewashed. The song is pretty creepy, and it makes the whole opening feel a bit more sinister, apart from the imagery. Obviously they've done this to conceal a lot of the spoilers, and while it's not as exciting or hype as the others, it still carries quite a bit of meaning, I think. Throughout the opening we can hear the chanting of monsters, monsters. We're seeing this through Marley's eyes. To them, as they say repeatedly through the episodes, Paradise Island is just an island of demons. We see these soldiers marching to fight these monsters, because Marley don't care about their people. Their only goal is to wipe out these monsters, which is why there are so many explosions. They are highlighted because they are what will win Marley the war. We can see in the episodes that technology is now and the Titans are becoming less and less useful, meaning explosive warfare is the way to go basically. Another thing about these episodes is that we have yet to see the main cast of characters, apart from this one scene that may or may not include Eren in it. So when we see this sharp frame-by-frame zoom onto the Attack Titan, seemingly frozen in place with the rest of the monsters, it brings chills. So at first I thought this was the Great Titan War, but as the episode went along I realised this isn't the Marley we kind of knew at the end of Season 3. We see characters like Reiner and Zeke, and it's clear they're different people, but I'll touch up on Reiner a bit later. Anyway, we see Marley trying to defeat a fort that has been occupied by rebels, and if they do they'll gain access to the sea which leads onto Paradise Island. Look at these soldiers' expressions. We can feel the cruelty of Marley as they prepare to sacrifice 800 Eldians, and the harsh injustice of these two nationalities as they're treated like cannon fodder. Like Jesus, watch this scene. It's in this point we're introduced to our main group of characters. The main two are Falco and Gabby. Basically, these kids are in the Warrior program, and they're competing to inherit the Armored Titan from Reiner, since Titan shifters can only live up to 27, I'm pretty sure. Falco has some sort of amnesia because he can actually remember being a scout or something. He's alright, I guess, but he seems to be as confused as we are. Gabby is probably the most interesting character. She's the most expressive and cocky, since she has the best chances of inheriting the Titan. Anyway, the opposition has these rail-mounted cannons, which will be disastrous against Titans, so Gabby actually hatches a plan to bomb the train. Apparently she's actually a war criminal, since she takes off her uniform armed man and surrenders. I'm not sure about that, but this act is definitely very bold. This scene is incredibly tense. At this point we don't know who to root for, and if this plan fails or succeeds, it will change our entire perception. The plan succeeds, and there's this weird feeling. We feel terrible since these basically Nazis are winning, and yet there's some sort of relief that this young girl who has found herself on the battlefield hasn't been, massacred. And then Marley gets its chance to attack, and it's truly frightening. The juxtaposition between the Eldians and Marleyans is clear. The weak Eldians are mowed down by dozens, while the terrifying Titans destroy the opposition with ease. They are CGI Titans, but at least they're better than the Colossal Titan from Season 2. That was bad. Regardless, the scene escalates much more when it starts raining Titans. We already knew that Eldians turned into Titans, and that Titans were falling from the sky in the trailer, but to see them bound and gagged and bombarded against the opposition like bombs was shocking. We see Zeke use the Titan Scream and watch as the Titans destroy the fort. Most die in impact, but still deal quite a bit of damage. The survivors are slaughtered by weaponry, which brings us back to the point that technology is evolving much faster than the Titans are. We get a really thought-provoking moment from Reiner. Clearly his time in Paradise Island affected his mental state, which he returns to when he is describing his experiences to Gabby's family later on. While this moment is pretty comedic, since he's comparing devils to Sasha eating a potato, it lets us understand the way Marleyans have been conditioned to think, and it allows us an insight into the mind of the villain. Anyhow, we get our first Titan action sequence, and what can I say? It's pretty good. Obviously the CGI Titans don't look as nicely animated, or as coloured or as smooth as their older selves, but they are serviceable, and in the end the Marlians win. This also gives Zeke, as the Beach Titan, to bombard a platoon of ships with bombs. However, this doesn't stop them from fighting back, and in a somewhat cliffhanger moment, Reiner gets critically injured as he sacrifices himself to save Zeke. Moving into the second episode, this one is less fast-paced and gets deeper into the lore of Marley. And the interesting thing is that at the beginning of the episode, they show that Reiner actually fears Mikasa, and most likely Levi too. The Marlians understand that Paradise Island is a formidable enemy, which only adds to the reasoning behind their efforts to fight. We are introduced to a bunch of new characters, such as Galliard, who has inherited the Jaw Titan from Ymir, and Peak, who I assume is the Cart Titan. Another thing is that Galliard's Jaw Titan actually has different abilities to Ymir's. Not only does he have long blonde hair, but his face is actually armoured, which we can see him use in battle. So the Titan Shifters, along with Zeke, have a sort of camaraderie between them. And a side note, Zeke shares the same voice actor as Dio, and once you imagine it, you can't unhear it.
には1年しか残されていないという話ですよ。軍の船が32隻も
Anyway, basically the Titan Shifters are planning to utilise the Tiber family and their Warhammer Titan, which I'm personally very excited for. However, their conversation is getting listened to by Marlians. Back to the main plot. We understand that Reiner has quite a special relationship with his trainees. Apart from Gabby being his cousin, he seems to respect every one of them, but despite this, Falco objects to one of them becoming the Armoured Titan, which is understandable because, well, you die at 27 years old. However, that gives Falco an incentive to become better and get chosen, which is pretty honourable, all things considered. We see them, along with the rest of the Eldians, return to their hometown, segregated from the rest of Mali. Yet again, the Eldians with shell shock are belittled by the Marlians, and we can see that Falco has sympathy for them. After all, he too wants his people to be free. We end this interesting episode with a look of terror as Reiner understands he must return to the island. I can't tell what will happen, but I sure as heck am excited. This season so far has been excellent, and I'm sure Mappa will do a great job. So for now, peace out, Ra safe, and I'll get back to you next time.